Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Today is Friday, June 16th, 2023. I want to thank each and every one of you all for joining me for another episode of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, and Real Live with Damon, the agent. I'm happy to see you all today, and I appreciate it. For those who don't know, I went back to my regular haircut. For those who follow me on Facebook, you all know the reason why. So, as always, I like to always begin my show with the latest real estate trend or topic. And today, the topic will be mortgages. I will be talking about certain aspects of mortgages because mortgages are the backbone behind purchasing a home unless you have straight cash to pay for it. And majority of the people who purchase homes don't always have straight cash. So let me get into it. So I was recently speaking with someone who currently owns a home and is looking to buy another home. So they were also asking me about the various different mortgages, which one should they do, and also who should they use. So when I was talking to this young man, we were discussing, I was telling him that when you are looking to get a home mortgage for your home, you have the option of shopping around different mortgage companies. Whether you get your credit pulled by one mortgage company or 21, as long as it is done within a certain time period, it counts as one inquiry. So for example, let's say you go to Bank of America and you have them to run your credit and everything, and you're not satisfied with whatever it is that they tell you. You have the option of exploring other options. The credit bureaus take this into consideration because they see that a person is shopping for a home, so they don't fault you for getting five inquiries within a certain time period. Now, that time period is normally, I always tell people to do it within a week if they can, within a week's time period, but you have up until 2 weeks to do so. And it all counts as one inquiry. So if you get one or 21 done within that 2 week time period, it's only going to count as one inquiry, even though it's going to put on your credit report all of the times that it's actually pulled, but it's only going to affect your score one time. That is very crucial because if you wait a long time, if you shop 1 month, go to another month, go to another month, those are going to all be separate because you have gone with outside of the time realm as far as applying for a home loan. Because most people who apply for a home loan, when you're getting a home time is of the essence. So they expect that most people are on it like that. That's why I always tell people to always shop around as soon as possible. So if you're going to inquire with one bank or mortgage company, I always tell people it's best to do it all within the same day. All lenders are not created equal, just like all mortgages. I'm sorry, just like all realtors are not created equal. Some mortgages and mortgage companies have different incentives and programs, just like some banks do. For example, there's some people who have talked to me about Navy Federal. Navy Federal does have a 100% down payment program that they use, but in my opinion, from my experience, they're not the best. On top of that, you're limited with that because though they have the 100% down program, down payment program, you still have to come up with your closing cost versus if you use a down payment program assistance where they may cover up to 5% of your down payment and closing costs. So for example, if you're using a conventional or FHA loan and you have to pay 3 or 3.5% down payment, and if you're getting the 5% from the down payment assistance, then that difference you can use towards your closing costs, which will make you come out less in your pocket when it's time to go to settlement. So sometimes things that sound good, you have to know all the details, whether or not it's the best option for you. That's why I always tell people to shop it around. And then here's another thing for many people who already own a home and they're looking to purchase another home. A lot of times, depending on what loan you have on that first home, should and determine which home you get on the next home. For example, there's a lady who has a conventional loan on her home. She's looking to purchase a investment property. So she was thinking about going conventional again. And I explained to her that if you go conventional again with conventional loans on your second loan, they normally require you to put 20% down because they view your second property as an investment property. And because they look at it as an investment property, they making money. I mean, you're making money. So they figure they got to make money. So in most cases, when you get your first home, if it's a conventional loan, you'll put anywhere from 3% to 10% down on the first home with a conventional loan. With a conventional loan on your second home, you put 20% down. Now, here's the thing. If you have your first home as a conventional loan and you want to get that second home, it will be more financially feasible to you to use the FHA loan because you will only have to put 3.5% down. Of course, FHA and conventional have different guidelines when it pertains to appraisal and value. But at the same time, though, when it pertains to money, if you're using it for an investment property, depending on your use for it, um, should determine what loan you should get for that second home. So always keep that in mind. My advice will always to be to speak to an experienced lender who can educate you furthermore on the process and furthermore on your options because everyone options are different just based off your financial DNA. Everyone has different credit scores. Everyone earns different amount, and people, and even for some people who earn the same amount, they don't live the same lifestyle because people have different expenses. Some people have more kids than others. Some people are single parents or single individuals. Some people have a spouse. So everybody's financial situation is different. So it's always best to speak with a mortgage advisor, especially ones who are experienced, to explain things thoroughly to you so you can clearly have a full understanding of the breakdown. Because sometimes people have misconceptions based off what they seen with their friends, cousins, or someone that they knew who used to who bought a home. So because of that, people assume that the same thing would necessarily apply to them, but it doesn't always apply. So people can be approved for the same amount, such as like about 400,000. Well, I'm just using that number as an example. Let's say you approve for 400,000, and people can pay a different amount for their mortgages, and that's because depends on the loan product that's used, depends on their credit score, depends on what interest rate they get, depends on how much money they've put down. All of these things have a huge factor when it pertains to mortgages. So always keep that in mind so you would clearly understand what will be your best option. Now, as realtor professionals, we always work with lenders. So if you do not know of a lender, we can always redirect you to one. I work with several. There are plenty of agents who work with several. We always try to advise you and pair you up with the one based off what you tell us when we do our buying consultation, when we hold a conversation with you to ask you, what type of home you're looking for, what area, how many bedrooms, how many baths, when you're looking your mortgage payment to stay around. Sometimes people know how much home they want to buy, but it all depends. So based off that information, we will direct you. Sometimes people inquire about programs. Sometimes people don't need programs. Sometimes people qualify for programs. Sometimes people don't qualify for programs. That's always going to be relevant and contingent upon the individual or individuals who are purchasing the home. So I just wanted to, elaborate on the mortgages as far as some of the things that goes on with them. So I have Q&A also today. That's questions and answers. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask when it pertains to real estate. Now, I did have a question asked to me, and I posted it on my Facebook Live. Why did I cut my hair? So I elaborated on that. If you're on my Facebook, you saw that. I posted that 2 days ago. If you're not on my Facebook, let's just say it was time. It was time. It was time to do it. So Q&A, questions and answers, all your real estate needs, all your real estate questions. Feel free to ask. I normally get these text messages and stuff asking me questions too. So let me see. All right, let me see what questions that I have. Hello, Tay. How are you? What real estate questions do I need to answer? All right, let me see. I got a question right here. I think I've answered this question. I'm sure I answered this question. Again, someone asked, when will the interest rates go down? Now, again, like I always say, the interest rate is always contingent upon the economy. So the interest rate fluctuate. Even though the interest rate right now is floating somewhere around what 6.5, close to 7. I always tell people do not focus on the interest rate. Please, please, please focus on the deal because the interest rate is not the only number that is involved in the transaction. You have to focus on the purchase amount of the home. You have to focus on what your mortgage payment is going to be. You have to focus on, all of these things: interest rate, mortgage payment, purchase amount of the home, and also focus on the deal. Because I know a guy right now, he's purchased several homes. His interest rate are all over 7%, but they're all investment property, and he's making a profit. And here's the thing: even with the interest rate, if you can focus on the deal and purchase and secure a home now, you can always refinance when the interest rate goes down. Here's the thing: the interest rate, people are focused on it, but here's the thing: the time that they've been focused on the interest rate, the price of housing have gone up. So when you start to do the math and you start to look at, okay, the interest rate, but the house have gone up, you actually end up paying more over time by waiting for the interest rate to go down. So if you can secure a good deal right now, and you can look at what your monthly payments are, and they're feasible and doable, and then you can refinance later on, you will come out better today than tomorrow. So it's best to purchase the home today and not just focus on the interest rate. There are people still out there buying homes, and the reason why people are still buying home is because of the fact that they realize that when they're buying the home, that during the long run, when they accumulate equity, once you accumulate equity and stuff, that interest rate, you can buy down the interest rate. So here's another question from Tay: what are the advantages of putting down a larger amount? The advantages are it makes your payment lower. It makes your payment lower. So the more you put down, the lower your mortgage payment is. In many cases, people put a large amount down and stuff because on top of that, another advantage is during the negotiation period. If you, for example, are looking to purchase a home, and I'm just going to use this number for an example. Let's say you're purchasing a home for 500,000, and then there are people who will put down like $1,000 as putting down as an earnest money deposit, and then there's people who say, okay, let me put down 50,000, or some people put down 100,000. That large amount that you put down shows the seller how serious you are. So if there are multiple offer situations, they're going to most likely pick your offer. So in many ways, that putting that large amount down shows that you have a stronger interest in the property than a lot of other people. And on top of that, when you put money down, a larger amount down, if you're doing it on your down payment, it lowers your monthly payment. So what a person would typically pay, the more that you put down, your mortgage payment goes down. So those are the advantages of putting down a large amount. So let's see what other questions that we have. Let me see. Hold on. Something popped up on my phone. Hold on for a second. I'm sorry. All right, you all. I thought that was an email that popped up, but let me see. Checking all my platforms because every time I sign off, I'll see that someone has sent me a message, and when they sent me a message, it's after I signed off. So I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anyone's comment or questions right now. So if you have any questions when it pertains to real estate, feel free to ask me. Let me check over here on my Instagram. Did anybody ask me any questions over here? Okay. So let me go to my other topic of the day. Wow, I'll still wait for any Q&As. Any Q&As. If you have any questions about real estate, please feel free to post them, send them so I can answer them. But my other topic of today is, what is your motivation? Motivation can comes in the form of people, places, or things. You know, some people want to travel. I was speaking with a young lady earlier today, and she told me that when she travels, she feels free. She feels free when she's out there in the world traveling to different countries. You know, that is some people's motivations. Other people's motivation may be their kids. Other people's motivation may be their parents or their loved ones or their spouse. I like to challenge you all to find out what is your motivation, because you know, sometimes in life we all become stagnant at some point. You know, we look around and we realize time had passed us by. We realize people that we once were close with or grew up with or hung up with, they have passed away. Our loved ones passed away, you know, and when you look up and you realize, you're like, dang, I never did certain things, or I never connected with certain people. And you have to ask yourself why. You know, we are all created in the image of God. We are all created equal, but we don't all live equal. You know, we are all not equal in our mindset, the way that we think about things, the way that we go about things. But what is your motivation? Because some people live their life every day doing the same old things, but expecting a different result. In reality, that is called insanity. But a lot of people don't think nothing's wrong with them, when reality is, if you are hopelessly daydreaming or fantasizing about things, but you're not doing anything to make those happen, then it's called being delusional. And there's a lot of delusional people out here, whether they realize it or not. They don't seem to understand that what goes on in your mind is just that, what goes on in your mind. What goes on in your world, your real world, is what you do. So what is your motivation to get you to traveling, for those who want to travel, and to get those for to people who want to connect, for those people who want to build a life for their children or their spouse or their loved ones? What is your motivation? I challenge you today to think about that, because time waits for no man or woman, and time is passing us by. You know, we look on the news every day and we see that this world is just out of control. This world is just crazy. There's so much happening in the world today. You turn around, people are shooting, you know, innocent kids are getting killed, women are getting shot up in cars. They're fighting over here, they're disagreeing on Capitol Hill. There's so much that goes on in this world today. But even though there's so much to go in this world today, you can also create your own world. But what is your motivation? What is your motivation for doing those things? What is your motivation for you, again, getting out in the world, traveling, or getting out with that person, or doing the things for your loved ones that you said that you was going to do, that you want to do, but you haven't done? What is your motivation? If you don't have a motivation, I challenge you to find one, because whether you realize it or not, time will pass you by, and you don't want to look up at your end of your life and realize that you only did 10% or 20% or even 50% of what you said that you wanted to do, but you didn't do all the other things because of your excuses. Because in life, we can have excuses or results, but we can't have both. And too many people are making excuses these days as to why they can't do anything. But the same excuse that you make to why you can't do anything, you can also make an effort to do so. People stroll on their phones all day and stay on social media all day. And when you look up, hours have passed you by. But if you took those hours to invest in whatever your goal or whatever it is that you want to do, then you'll realize that whatever you have in your mind that you want to do is closer to being done than you actually will realize. So I just challenge you to find your motivation, focus on your motivation, do the things that you need to do to make it happen, and it shall and will happen for you. So let me do my recap. 1 second. Okay, real quick. My recap is on mortgages. Like I mentioned about mortgages, whether you shop your mortgage around and you get your credit pulled by one mortgage person or by 10, as long as it's done within a certain time period, it only counts as one inquiry as far as lowering your credit, but it still will show on your credit, but it won't affect it. It will only affect it one time. So please keep that in mind. But I will always strongly advise you to shop around to see what's the best option for you when it pertains to mortgages, because all mortgages are not created equal, just like all realtors are not created equal. And then when it pertains to Q&A, someone that asks, what are the advantages of putting down a larger amount? When you put a larger amount down, if it's your earnest money deposit, it shows you have a stronger and greater interest in the property than the person who doesn't. So when they're looking at offers, if y'all have around the same amount, they're most likely going to choose your offer because you put more down. And also when you put more money down, it actually lowers your mortgage payment. The more money you put down, the lower your payment goes. So those are some of the advantages. And then also, what is your motivation? Again, in life, we can have results or excuses, but we can't have both. So find your motivation to do all the things you want to do, whether it's taking and buying someone some gift or whether it's traveling the world so you can be free like that lady that I mentioned. But whatever you do, just make sure that it's worth it. I want to thank you all for always joining me each and every Friday at 12 noon. I appreciate you all. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm here, but you can also call or text me at 202-618-1382. You can also always visit my website, damontheagent.com. I appreciate you all. You all have a great Father's Day weekends. And remember, fathers matter. If you had a male role model who has impacted you in any way, especially a positive way, please show your appreciation to them this weekend. Because as fathers, we don't always get enough love and attention that we should get. We're not always showing appreciation. So sometimes we don't even feel value when we do the things that we know we're supposed to, even though we're supposed to do it. But everyone wants to feel appreciated at some point in time. And what is a perfect time than Father's Day? So on Father's Day, please acknowledge those good fathers that you know have been good father role model to you all and also to your kids. I mean, my goddaughter gave me a balloon and some cologne samples. I thought that was real sweet of her. But to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. To all the fathers who have not seen your kids in a while, please keep your head up. I was speaking with a father yesterday. He hasn't seen his kids in almost a year. He's a good dude. There's a lot of fathers who go through that. Sometimes you have some women who, when they know you care for your kids, they use your kids against you. The only advice that I can give you when you're in situations like that is continue to pray, go to court. I know it's not easy. Sometimes you don't have the money. But here's the thing. At most courts, they have a pro bono section. So go there, ask questions, seek help. When people know that you really have a genuine, sincere, they would try to help you, especially when it's in the best interest of the kids. And always remember that. Always put the kids first. Despite how you may feel, always put the kids first. So I just want to say that fathers matter. Please appreciate and show fathers that this Sunday, it's the only time of the year that we got, but at the same time, Some people have never shown appreciation. So please acknowledge the fathers in the life that you all have. I appreciate you all. Thank you all. Have a great day, and I shall talk to you all soon.